You are not gonna believe the amount of adult jokes I found in cartoons and movies. There are over 4,500 cartoons that exist in our modern world, and in this list, I dug up and found the most obscure cartoons, littered with adult jokes. I put an unbelievable amount of research into this video, so give your boy a like. Let's go on to the first entry on the list.
Just as I thought. The mailbox on the corner. Good.
The main character, Bessie, can't see without her glasses, so when she realized that she lost one of her senses, she decided to use the power of her tongue, using taste to help her navigate. But I don't think you need me to tell you what's going on here. Luckily, she didn't actually lick the lady in front of her, or that would be a different story. But the amount of bacteria she probably picked up from that thing is disgusting. Let's move on.
Gotta say, Tiger, you fill out that costume nicely.
Very nicely. You can web me up anytime, Petey. You can web me up anytime, Petey.
Spider-Man, known for his white, sticky webs, has managed to impress the community around him. It's no shocker that he's managed to surprise and wow the characters on the show. However, what the ladies were saying to him was definitely concerning. What kind of webs was she talking about? And why would she want to get webbed in the first place? That's usually an attack or something used to neutralize targets. Interesting. Anyways, let's move on. Johnny's sisters were using him as a lab rat once again. One day they wanted to test out another invention, but this time it goes freakishly wrong, or freakishly right, depending on your perspective. Johnny's entire body was transformed into a grown woman. Oh, and by the way, you might not want to pause this segment at any point because the animators were not holding back. Usually on the cartoon, the sisters' experiments go terribly wrong, but some people have pointed out that in this episode, this experiment went well. However, those same people would have to retract that statement because seconds later we see that he goes from a grown woman to a beast. Now let's be honest for a second, guys. We all know that Johnny Test received a lot of criticism back in the day, but personally, I love the show, despite them spamming the whip crack every 5 seconds. Alright, so I feel like I've been holding back throughout this video, so I'm about to go wilder and wilder. We're gonna turn the freakiness up to 100. So from here on out, it's gonna get very, very dirty. Yeah, I wasn't kidding. It literally got dirty. The hand motion and gestures tell a peculiar story. All of these jokes flew over many people's heads when they were watching this as a child. However, when you grow up, you realize a lot of these things weren't as innocent as we assumed. The way they drew her, the curvature. Wow, the cartoon robot boy was not playing. It's making me question a lot of things. I ended up doing a lot of research. In fact, after this video, I doubled down on the research to find more crazy entries for you. Now, one can make the argument that some of these aren't even adult jokes, and that our minds are just dirty. However, you can't keep making that claim when you have clips like this.
Timmy, I love these nuts!
It's so obvious that the writers and animators are working in conjunction with each other to slip these adult jokes in for the older audiences.
Hello, beautiful.
Alright, so I think I've had enough of Robot Boy for today. If I keep showing you more clips of this, we're just gonna keep going on for the entire video.
Molly, could you come here?
What's wrong?
I got my first, it's my time of the month.
What time of the month?
You know.
So it seems like modern cartoons have less restrictions on what they can talk about. She's obviously experiencing a period. Personally, I don't know how to feel about this just yet, but I'd like to ask my female viewers, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, in this clip alone, it's undeniable that the animators and writers have no fear when it comes to talking about these subject matters. Ladies, do you think it's inappropriate for cartoons to be talking about this, especially when it's targeted towards a younger demographic? Or do you think this is fine and a natural part of life? Anyways, throughout this episode of Molly McGee, they did not hold back on anything.
She got her first period.
Jeez, who knew all this stuff would be in cartoons in this era? I don't know, maybe I'm just getting older, but I grew up on things like Danny Phantom and SpongeBob, and those cartoons wouldn't really focus on things that deep. However, there was that one SpongeBob episode. You know what I'm talking about. Anyways, let's move on to the mouse.
You know what two people do when they're alone, right?
Gosh, that tickles!
When two people are alone, that's where the magic happens. At least that's what Disney is teaching me these days. This is so clearly a joke that would fly over any toddler's head, but to us, we know exactly what's going on here. In fact, I would say that this is one of the most blatant entries on the list, purely because of the sound effects and the actual movement once the lights were turned off. Let's transition to the VeggieTales Noah movie. Oh, you thought VeggieTales was exempt from this list, huh? You didn't believe that a Christian property, such as VeggieTales, would have the audacity to take on an adult joke? Well, strap in, buddy. You're in for a ride.
So, what's next, Dad?
Time for us to start over.
You kids go forth and multiply.
I have no idea what that means.
I'll explain it to you later.
After a brutal and long trip on the Ark, these vegetables are the only ones left on Earth, so they must somehow repopulate. The fact that they slipped an adult joke into a VeggieTales movie is unbelievable. But check this out, I got a bunch of questions that need to be answered immediately. First of all, how do vegetables reproduce? Actually, I don't want to know. Throughout this movie, the characters were really bored in the Ark and they wanted some action.
We just can't live on this ark for the rest of our lives. We're running out of hobbies to pass the time.
And honestly, a part of me can't blame them, because being cooped up in an ark surrounded by water for multiple days can cause anyone to get bored and go kind of crazy. So once they finally hit the land, they realize that there's no other people around. By the way, these two characters are married in the movie, so his suggestion to them was appropriate. They gotta do what needs to be done. Believe it or not, VeggieTales has gotten very wild lately. Even when you look at the VeggieTales show, you can tell that things have gotten loose. The animation and even the writing makes you question a lot of things that you're seeing on the television screen. Anyways, you guys have been super patient with me, and I know you want to see that Kim Possible clip.
Baby? I felt like dressing up. You don't mind, do you?
Kim's dress is very interesting. Also, you gotta love how the parents are just approving of everything. Keep in mind, Kim was still kinda young in this episode, so seeing the dad and mom looking at their own daughter dressed like this to go out and not really giving a crap is pretty interesting. Now, I know there's a lot of different parenting styles out there, and none of us can judge, except Ron apparently. He's doing a different type of judging, but yeah, it's pretty funny how the parents reacted in that moment. However, later in the episode, we do see them kind of concerned about the time they want her to get back into that house.
Have Kimmy home by T-minus 10 and counting.
Yeah, they don't want Kim out too late looking like that. As I continued doing my research, I spent a lot of time jotting down notes, reading, looking at cartoons, looking at movies, and I realized there's a lot of freaky things even in SpongeBob. If you're not keeping up with the latest episodes of SpongeBob, which I don't blame you for, the bikini bottom fish have evolved. What in the world are they feeding those fish? Well, I think it's already answered in the clip we're watching right now, but I guess that Squidward was right when he said that Krabby Patties can go straight to the thighs. But what if I were to tell you the adult jokes don't just end here? There are some other clips that I really need you guys to check out. Okay, to be honest, Bubble Bass has way too many Krabby Patties. Way too many Krabby Patties. His freaking butt is the size of the moon, man. Put that thing away. Ain't nobody trying to see that right now. I think someone needs to tell Homeboy to stop feeding everyone Krabby Patties because it's going straight to everyone's thighs. Alright, since we're on the topic of Nickelodeon, let me show you another show from Nick. The parents' clothes have been ripped off and thrown to the side, and we see vicious splashing in the water. The camera angle also doesn't allow us to see what these two lovers are doing in that pool. Now, fun fact about this episode is those two hooligans were actually kicked out of that pool for doing something naughty. I gotta give props to the Loud House writers because they knew that anyone below the age of 18 would have no idea what the heck is going on here. A lot of you guys watching my video right now probably have an innocent mind. I'd bet that you're a modest individual who upholds good values and doesn't have a dirty mind. Anyways, let's transition on to the next entry.
Oh, what is that? Is it magic?
It's a PDA. I'm sending a message to a friend in Tokyo.
Now this one's a little difficult to pinpoint, but I need you to pay attention to Homeboy's hand.
Oh, what is that? Is it
Magic.
Can someone explain to me why he's feeling and touching her up like that? The animators thought they were slick with this one, but I saw this instantly. Also, notice where his hand is. It's not on her back, it's a little bit further down. The Shaolin gang needs to sit down and have a serious conversation with this dude. To be honest, I wasn't sure if this was an adult joke or not, until I saw where his hand was and I heard the sound effect. But I do wonder why the girl didn't react to his grabbing. If you thought that was pretty intense, wait till you see what I got for you next. It comes from the OG cartoon, codename Kids Next Door.
Julie, everyone goes up to the point.
Marty, if we go up to the point, it'll change us forever.
Come on, please.
Okay.
All right.
Really quick for context, the quote point is used as a metaphor for having abundantly clear throughout this entire episode that people were just trying to get to the point. As you get further and further into the episode, you see the teenagers bragging about going to the point, and the gang is trying to figure out what exactly is the point.
Teenagers can't wait to grow up, so somewhere up on the point, the teenagers, in league with the adults, have constructed a super secret facility where they do the most disgusting thing imaginable.
Uno figures out that adults and grown-ups do very nasty and disgusting things together. Oh, poor Nigel. There's a point in this episode where we figure out that teenagers and adults are going to this secluded area to indulge in some activities. They even drop hints that it's only cool people that are doing it.
Wow, that's a lot of cars.
Yeah, every teenager in town must be up there.
Alrighty, my work is done. My research has been completed. What were your thoughts on this video? Which entry on this list stood out to you the most? Thank you guys so much for watching.